Hello, this is Onyx Tarot Readings, and today I have another podcast for you. So thank you all for hitting the like button and subscribing, of course. I'm going to be talking about Venus and Leo. So Venus is now officially in Leo through July the 9th, and I feel that this is super important to kind of talk about because Venus rules love, relationships, partnerships, collaborations, money, contracts, that kind of thing. And Leo wants to be seen. Leo is confident. Leo is expressive. Leo puts themselves out there. Leo wants romance to be romantic. Leo wants grand gestures. Leo wants to, again, put themselves out there so people can see. So people are going to be craving acknowledgement. They're wanting to be chosen publicly, to be appreciated openly, to know exactly where they stand, to be pursued. And so a lot of people collectively are going to notice an increase in attention, flirting, dating opportunities, people showing more effort, people inviting you places. Hey, do you want to be my plus one? There's going to be a lot of obvious displays of affection. And also, a lot of people may actually finally be saying how they really feel about you. So if someone's been sitting, in the shadow, it's like, oh, I kind of like you, but I'm not going to progress it forward. No, these are the people that are going to be like, hey, do you want to go on a date? People are going to be a lot more forward with Venus and Leo. And again, this is only through July the 9th. Now, that all sounds so good and so exciting, right? However, there's a shadow side of Venus and Leo. So the issue that I have personally with Venus and Leo is vanity. So, of course, not all Leo energy is shallow. I love the fellow Leos. But unevolved Leo can confuse admiration with love. So it's going to be important for us to all ask ourselves, especially when it comes to relationships and partnerships and things that we're really investing in. Are we choosing someone because they align with you, or because other people approve of them and they fit the mold and they fit in for right now? Because Venus and Leo can attract people who are choosing partners based on appearance, choosing status over actually being compatible, staying with someone because the lifestyle it works out, because you live together, because you share finances, that kind of thing, or because someone pays for certain things, or vice versa. Staying with someone because you like the attention, staying because someone looks good on paper. Like I said, oh, this person could fit in with my group of friends. So even though I don't want anything long term, I'm just going to invite them here, right? And lastly, Venus and Leo can attract people who are ignoring red flags because being chosen feels validating. So collectively, and I've talked about this on my love channel like a month ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, this transit is going to be so interesting for me to actually see, because some people may be choosing people, especially in dating, but also in business partnerships and in whatever way that makes sense for you with the definition of Venus, simply because it's there, simply because they're available, because they're being admired, because this person is going to elevate their image. Even if they're not the healthiest choice long term, people may actually just be choosing people or choosing you or vice versa for the heck of it when it's really not super compatible. So one thing I really love about Venus is that Venus rules all partnerships, right? It doesn't always just have to be romantic. So this includes business partnerships, collaborations. I'll help you with this. Will you help me with that? Friendships, contracts, clients, people we choose to work with, people we choose to purchase from, and financial connections. Like, I'll help you do this. You'll help me do this. You help me invest. I pay you to help me invest, that kind of thing. So wherever Leo falls in your chart, for those of you all who have your birth chart, it can show you what's going to be highlighted right now through July the 9th. So wherever Leo is in your chart, whatever house is in, it's going to be showing where you're being asked to receive appreciation, express confidence, be visible, showing yourself in different avenues, depending again, wherever that is in your chart, which I will get into. Okay, so keep listening. It could show you where you're going to be opening your heart, and it could also, I feel most importantly, help you evaluate who and what truly aligns with your values. So another thing that I was looking into when I was looking at like where all the planets are is that Venus and Leo is actually opposing Pluto and Aquarius. So Pluto and Aquarius is here now through 2047. And if you haven't heard the podcast that I did about maybe 6 days ago, feel free to check that out on the channel. But Pluto essentially is going to transform whatever it touches. And Aquarius rules groups, communities, networks, detachment, individuality. And essentially to me, Pluto and Aquarius, like this transit, is essentially showing us where we've been too connected. So essentially we as a people have been like, I don't need anyone. People are the problem. I work better alone. Like we are essentially like very individualistic as a society right now. And so essentially Venus and Leo is opposing that. So it's saying, no, let people see you, right? Let people see your business. Let people see your heart. Let people see your person. Let people see what you do or what's exciting for you. You know, you may be posting more on social media, but like, again, it's essentially asking, what walls have you built all the way up tied to whatever house it's in, and what control mechanisms are operating underneath the guise of your independence, right? Oh, I'm going to handle this all on my own. I got this all by myself. And also, are you avoiding intimacy because it's safer? Are you avoiding collabing with other people? Are you avoiding getting advice from other people tied to wherever this is affecting you because it feels safer? And are you avoiding, collaborating with other people, asking for advice, working with other people because being vulnerable and needing help or needing advice or needing, support feels threatening to you? So essentially, Venus opposite Pluto can expose hidden motivations, manipulation, jealousy, obsession, possession, control issues, where there's being unequal effort, and also fear of vulnerability. So with this transit, some relationships will deepen. And I really do feel that like if you're with a person or in a, collaboration and it's working and it's vulnerable and it's fair and it's balanced, like you are like very lucky, at this time. But I do feel that, again, for people who are trying to figure out their way, is this the right person for me or not? A lot of the cracks, right? If we speak of Pluto, a lot of the cracks in your relationships or partnerships or dynamics are really going to be revealed at this time. And again, if you listen to the Pluto podcast, just because the cracks in a dynamic or relationship or why someone actually wants to be with you, just because that's revealed does not mean it's going to fail. It just means that something isn't necessarily sustainable long term. Or again, it allows you to kind of decide, do I want to invest in this or not? This transit may show you that someone or some dynamic may have been self-serving. Someone may have been using you within a connection, a relationship, seeking benefits without actually like pouring back into you, avoiding accountability, or wanting admiration without actually having a solid relationship, a solid partnership. So anything that's falling apart right now may literally be because the foundation wasn't necessarily built on something that was mutual. So on top of all these transits, there's another one, okay? Mars is in Taurus, which is square Venus and Leo until June the 28th. And today, when I'm actually recording this, it's June the 21st. So this is going to be kind of like a big deal too, especially wherever Taurus is in your chart. So Mars shows how we act, right? How we fight, our motivations essentially. And Taurus wants security. Taurus wants to possess. Taurus wants to, sometimes, if you will, Taurus wants to win, right? And Leo wants recognition. And so both are fixed signs, and fixed signs don't like to be moved. So this can create a huge chunk of stubbornness, especially with disagreements we may have, dealing with money, dealing with winning something or feeling like we're the victor. So you may see collectively, right? This is like all over. You may see that people may like try to win at all costs, want to prove they're right, not really even looking at why they're fighting for something. People may be refusing to compromise. They may be becoming very territorial. They may attach their worth to possessions, like I have this, I own this is who I am. They may also use money or status as leverage over people. And they could also become possessive in relationships. So there may be a lot of competition, right? Because remember, the Venus and Leo, there may be a lot of competition around attention, resources, recognition, who people appear to be, who people want them, who people want people to think they are, kind of thing. Success and what that looks like, and affection. So like, really keep this in mind, especially if you feel like people are very much bragging about, like, again, what they have or who they're with or their relationships or, where they're at in life, all these things. Because again, what you're wanting to do with this transit is to avoid power struggles. Avoid fighting to win, right? Let people make themselves look stupid by like winning at all costs and exerting all their time, energy, money, and effort to fight you on something. Avoid making purchases just to impress people. Like if you buy something, make sure you're buying it just because you actually want it. Avoid staying where you're tolerated just because a lifestyle or friendship or a dynamic benefits you. Because again, I feel like you guys are going to kind of see, the truth about all of the dynamics that you all are in. Of course, avoid dating someone for image, especially at this time. If people are kind of like, oh, wait, they're available. I need you to come to this thing with me. Really, really try to avoid that because again, you don't want to be in a position where it kind of is revealed anyway that like they're only choosing you because someone else didn't want to, show up or because they didn't get their first choice, that kind of thing. This is going to be a really important time for this because again, when I saw that Venus was going to be in Leo and I looked at everything, I was like, oh no, like really think a lot of superficial people and people who don't want to do the work to actually build healthy, balanced relationships are going to be showing and spouting from the rooftops. Oh, I'm with this person. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm going here. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at my life. So like try not to get wrapped into that at this time because again, kind of down the line, you may not see these people or this dynamic or whatever. It's not going to be necessarily sustainable. Also, refusing to apologize to someone just because you have so much pride. And then last but not least, I have avoid using affection as currency. Like, oh, I'm only going to do this for you if you do this, that kind of thing. Because again, these dynamics are going to kind of just, be revealed eventually. So you kind of want to have balanced relationships and partnerships at this time. Last but not least, before we get into the houses of wherever Leo is in your chart, before you kind of respond to someone or you make your, judgment of a situation, ask, is this sustainable long term? Am I building something real and authentic? Am I trying to prove something to other people? Also, if someone is trying to bring out your need to defend yourself, to compete, to be like, oh, I don't know why they're doing this, let me prove a point. This may be information like that need or that knee jerk of like, oh, I need to prove a point. I need people to see who this person really are. That is going to be information for you guys to see kind of like, first of all, who's aligned and who isn't, what's going to be kind of like revealed long term. Because again, whatever is going on right now with people just doing things for attention is not going to be very sustainable. And also, if you have relationships, friendships, dynamics, partnerships that are trying to like evoke this within you, it may not be something that is long term. So it's going to be a really good time to take stock of friends, dynamics, relationships, work partnerships, and making sure that they are very aligned at this time. Because otherwise, again, I feel that you're going to kind of see, that wasn't really the person or the dynamic that I really thought it was. Now, for those of you who have your birth charts handy, I'm going to go through wherever Venus is in your chart. And then last but not least, I'm going to be talking about Chiron and Taurus as well. So feel free to skip through the houses and find your house and then meet me at the very end of this podcast to talk about Chiron and Taurus and the things that we're going to be healing from during this transit as well. So if you have Venus and Leo in the first house, So essentially, you'd be a Leo rising. The themes for this transit are going to be visibility, confidence, reinvention. So a lot of you, of course, naturally attract attention and people are going to notice you more. So this is going to be a really good time for rebranding, updating your appearance, dating as well. And this could be a really good time for those of you who are putting yourself out there doing content creation. The things that could be helpful to avoid is over identifying with external validation, speaking impulsively just to get attention, and also making your image and who you are your entire identity. This is really going to be a good time for you all to reanalyze who you are and what your values are and to trust that as you move forward. If Venus is in your second house, this could be impacting your money, your resources, your investments. A lot of you could see that your talent and the things that you're really good at may be getting a lot more attention. If you're a business owner, you could get a lot more clients, a lot more opportunities just from putting yourself out there more. And also people seeing you and acknowledging you and the things that you have actually put progress towards. This could also be a really good time for budgeting and investing in yourself. I would avoid luxury spending and buying things for just appearances, equating your income with your worth. I'm only worth this much if I make this much, or I'm better than this person because I make this much, that kind of thing. And also financial pride. So kind of just seeing your finances and your stability and where you're at could be very important because you guys can definitely use this time to kind of catapult yourself into where you're meant to be. If Venus is in your third house, this could be affecting your communication, your friends, your siblings, networking. You guys could become a lot more social during this time as well. This is going to be a really good time for teaching, marketing things, podcasts, networking things, meeting local people. This could be also a good time to avoid gossip, anything needing social approval, saying certain things for attention. And the main thing here with Leo in your third house is just protecting your energy because not everyone deserves access to you at this time. Okay. So kind of be intentional with who you have around you. If you have Leo in the fourth house, this could be impacting your home, your family, your foundations emotionally, and there could be a lot of healing here. So a lot of you could be spending more time at home, focusing on family matters, focusing on your emotional health. This could be a really good time for decorating, focusing on your home. Some of you may be cooking more, that kind of thing, having family gatherings, working from home, and essentially strengthening your support system. You guys are going to know who exactly is there for you, especially family wise. And again, you could feel much more secure at home. Things that you should avoid could be having some issues with family and taking everything personally, trying to control family dynamics. This is going to be a really good time to kind of take stock of where you're at, home-wise, family-wise, and try to be more peaceful and try not to be right, okay? Because again, I feel like this is just a good time for you all to take stock at what peace and security you all actually do have in your home life and your family life, and then kind of move on from there. If you have Leo in your fifth house, this could be a time where your dating life is very busy. You could be creative, having a lot of hobbies. You could be focusing on your children or entrepreneurship, the things that make you happy. So this is going to be a really good time, especially with Venus and Leo here in your fifth house. This is going to be a good time for new relationships, new romance, date nights, creating content as well, and hobbies. Things that you should avoid is attention seeking. Once you see red flags, really believe them, okay? Risky spending, and also seeking excitement over stability. So focusing on your stability first is going to be helpful. So kind of have fun, but not too much fun. If Leo is in your sixth house, you guys could be focusing on work at this time, your health, your routines. So the consistency and your schedules could be very important. This is going to be a good time for you guys to look at your routine, right? Because Leo shines a light on things, right? So you could be focusing on better habits, and this could be a really good time to avoid burnout. neglecting your health, taking care of your body is going to be the most important thing, and focusing on your routines is going to be important. So if you see, ooh, I should be doing this, I should really be focusing on this, or I really should be sleeping more, this could be a really good time to do that. If Leo's in your 7th house, this could definitely impact your relationships, partnerships, marriage, contract. So a lot of your relationships are going to be front and center. You guys may be meeting someone new. You could be deepening a connection or commitment with somebody. And you could also be figuring out more clarity, okay, on like certain relationships and partnerships. Things to avoid could be settling just for appearances, like, oh, this person's nice, they have, a stable life, but who are they really? This is going to be a good time to think about that. If you see somebody or something that's incompatible, this could be a good time to kind of like see it and kind of address it and make a decision from then on. And also try not to stay with people or things or dynamics or schedules just because you don't want to change it, just because you don't want to be alone. So really pouring into the things that pour into you at this time and the things that are reciprocal could be helpful. If Leo's in your 8th house, this could definitely be impacting your finances, shared finances, intimacy with people. You could also be transforming at this time. So there may be things that are, light that's shed to you, right? Power dynamics that you weren't aware of, that you're going to be aware of, how certain things work. However, I do feel that this is going to be a good time for you guys to just see the truth about a lot of dynamics, relationships, friendships, and it could be helpful to avoid possessiveness, manipulation, testing people, and getting involved into financial agreements without knowing exactly where everything's going or how much something's going to be, that kind of thing. If you have Venus in the 9th house, you could be traveling, you could be expanding something, you could be working on education or certifications. You could also be shifting your beliefs in some way, shape, or form. So you guys could be learning a lot. The things that you should avoid is, sticking to one way of doing things and saying, oh, no, this is the only way. This is what I believe, and that's it. Also, over-promising to people could be important as well. But basically just taking this time to explore the things that you feel excited about could be helpful, and kind of allowing the clarity from that to come to you before you make drastic decisions could be helpful. If Leo's in your 10th house, you could be focusing on your career, reputation, public image. And so people are going to be noticing you at work or noticing your work. This is going to be a good time for visibility, networking, promotions, launches. Things to avoid could definitely be building an image that's not like who you really are, right? Hanging out with people that aren't necessarily aligning with you, making career decisions that are based on what other people do or how you want people to see you could be good to avoid. And also not doing things just because you want to seem successful, doing things that will matter long term, not just what people expect you to do or want you to do could be helpful. If Leo's in your 11th house, this rules community, friendships, audiences, groups, your future, right? And your network and your friendship groups are very important at this time. So this could be an important time to not just follow a crowd or follow what other people are doing blindly, not comparing yourself to other people, kind of like seeing yourself for who you are and not feeling like you have to morph or merge into other people at this time. And not that you're necessarily doing that, but especially if people or groups are like, Leo, 11th house, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? This could be a good time to like remain grounded within who you are. And also just understanding that not everybody that's in your friendship group or your circle or people you hang out with is meant to be in your life forever. So there may be certain people, places, things, groups that you outgrow, and that's okay. Last but not least, if you have Leo in the 12th house, your healing, your spirituality, your, solitude, the time that you spend by yourself could be important. Some friendships or dynamics, relationships could end. Others of you could feel like you're finding a lot of healing, and things that have closed. So this is going to be a good time for resting, reflection, therapy if that aligns with you, forgiveness, your spiritual health, spiritual practices could be important. It could also be important to avoid escapism, hidden relationships, sabotaging yourself, and ignoring your intuition. So basically, being okay with things releasing right now could be helpful that don't align with you, and being open to, things, people, places that align with you for the future could be helpful. So kind of seeing this period of things closing out could be helpful. Even if it's just like, oh, I used to care about this situation. Now I don't anymore. Even if it's just that and not like a relationship ending or something ending. So before we close it out, I do want to talk about Chiron and Taurus. Okay. So not only is Mars in Taurus, but Chiron is in Taurus. And Chiron rules our wounds, our triggers, insecurities, our healing journey, and essentially how we're turning things that hurt us into wisdom, how we're moving on from things that we've went through. And so with Chiron and Mars both being in Taurus, I think that a lot of people are going to gain a lot of insight into where you actually are in your healing journey. So this is not a bad thing, but a lot of you may definitely notice at this time how much you've healed from certain things that you've been through, how differently you're responding to things. So like maybe a year ago or 3 years ago, I would have handled it this way. I would have done this, but now I'm doing this differently. Also, you could have a lot healthier boundaries, like not only with other people, but with yourself and with your time and with your energy. And a lot of you are just going to kind of see like how far you've actually come from, the past and from past situations. So Taurus rules stability, security, possessions, self-worth, money, comfort, the things that we really value. So the things that you've been through could come back up as far as kind of like a closing out cycle tied to relationship dynamics, people or dynamics that have tried to possess you, trust issues that you may have, physical health could come back up. You could be making changes or decisions based on like, oh, I want to do this or I want to change this. You could have felt rejected in certain situations or certain dynamics, and that could be coming back up and closing out. But overall, Mars is wanting action, right? And then Chiron is wanting healing. So together, if you join those together, this is basically saying, have you actually healed from these situations, or have you been avoiding it? So again, I feel like there's going to be two, sides of the coin. Some of you are going to be able to say again, wow, I've been through this, and, a year ago, 5 years ago, I would have handled it this way, but I am so at peace with where I'm at right now. And other people may be on the flip side of the coin and be like, oh no, I'm still going to win. I still want to be the best. I still want to get this. I still want to take this. I still want to fight you on this. So this is going to be very important to see like your triggers, or to see basically things that have come back up and closed out, and see where you're at now with it, and kind of like what emotions are evoked essentially, because there may be, again, with Mars and Chiron being here. And again, this is creating like tension with Venus and Leo. A lot of people may feel pressure around pride, feeling recognized or not feeling recognized, feeling validated or not feeling validated, getting attention or not getting attention, happy in certain relationships and dynamics, or in unhappiness. So it's going to be very important at this time what emotional decisions you make, and try not to make decisions based on your ego feeling upset, right? Or feeling like you want to win every battle, feeling like you want to prove a point to somebody, that kind of thing. So this is going to be a good time, depending on what side of the coin you are, to kind of look back and see what cycles may be closing for you, what situations may be repeating, and like what lessons you've learned. Because wherever Taurus and Leo fall in your chart, it may reveal the exact area where you're being asked to demonstrate where you've grown or how you've grown. At this time, certain situations aren't really meant to be like repeating, if that makes sense. Like certain situations may be repeating, but during this transit, a lot of you are going to be closing things out or handling things differently or processing things differently, that kind of thing. So if you're kind of like going through some type of cycle, especially something that's come back up from the past, I feel like it's not happening for a reason. And I feel like people are kind of being tested. We're being tested collectively, but it isn't to see if we pass or fail. It's really to give us an opportunity to see how far we've come. So with that information, it could give you more insight to how you want to progress forward or not with certain information or certain decisions, certain communications, that kind of thing. So in closing, I do not think that this is a bad transit, okay? I do think that Venus being in Leo until July the 9th reminds us that love is important, right? And love should be expressed. So how we express that love is going to be important. But again, making sure and being mindful of what that looks like and choosing people or accepting attention from people or giving attention to people that are very much aligned with us are going to be helpful. And also, again, asking us, are we just dating this person or are we friends with this person or are we in this friend group or in this lifestyle or doing this way or doing things that way just because it's familiar? Or do we feel like this person, place, thing dynamic actually aligns with us? Because after this transit, I do feel that a lot of us are going to see whether our relationships are very much reciprocal or if they haven't been aligned and we're ready to move forward from them or stay in them. And again, with Chiron and Mars and Taurus is going to be a really important time to kind of reanalyze where we come from and what situations we've come from and where we're going. It could be important to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is this situation worth the time, energy, or effort? And also, again, understanding why a situation may be coming back up and how we are handling these things differently. So I do hope that this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for being here and thank you for listening.